What's up, guys? We're here on another great episode. This week, man, we got a really good guest and Bear here, and where he came from and how he got here. And he's going to be on here also to promote the Polar Bear Bash. And
Hmm.
that's coming up this weekend, this upcoming weekend, which is pretty exciting, man, because it's going to be a indoor race, and I'm curious to find out what how many entrants that they put out a pre-registration
Hmm.
and how the numbers are. And uh, I think it's going to be great. I'm going to be there. I'm not going to race, but I'm going to be there. Want to I just want to get to know everybody and see how they're doing, and want to check
Hmm.
out the action, man. It's been a long time for anything racing. Shane, I know that you're kind of rubbing it
Hi.
in our face here already. You got the big beautiful scenery behind you, the big fountain, and I know
Yep.
that you had a crazy last week of moving, and you're finally down there.
Yep.
And there's some other personal
Yep.
things going on. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
so you're
Yep.
kind of hoarse,
Yeah.
little things going on with your voice. So
Yeah. I
we
got. I think I'm
we'll motor through
fighting.
this.
Yeah, fighting a little bit of. I think it might be like laryngitis or something like. I feel great. I just have no voice. At least today, I have somewhat of one. So I only smoke like four
Yeah.
packs of cigarettes today, not 20. So,
Slacker.
but
So,
yeah.
but go ahead. Go ahead. What was you going to
No,
say?
but I was, as I said, not to rub it in too much, but maybe I will just a little bit. But you guys are battling the snow today and tomorrow. I was sitting on my front porch in my shorts drinking some sweet tea. Not
Oh
gonna
man,
lie,
it's
kind of love it.
Snowmageddon. It's
Yeah,
Snowmageddon
be
here, man. It's
be
they're calling
be
for
care-
like 12 inches
Ooh,
is what
be
they're
careful,
calling.
guys. Yeah, be careful out there.
Yeah. So
Be careful out there.
so it this front is bringing a lot of cold weather too. So we'll have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
peak of that.
yeah. I know my wife's
Hopefully it
up in
starts.
So my wife's up in Charlotte right now, and they were talking maybe they may even get some there in North Carolina, some too. So crazy.
Oh, I'd bring that whole state to a dead stop, man.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
close
Well,
everything.
oh, they're
I,
freaking out.
do they even
They're
own?
like, yeah,
Do
they're
they even
freaking
own a
out.
plow truck up there?
I don't even think they own snow
So,
shovels, let alone a snow plow. Yeah, I mean, they'll be out there like, oh, I
oh
don't
my
know what
God,
to
that'd be
do.
insane. Hey,
Yeah,
let yeah, right.
yeah.
So, I'm just going to bring our guest up. He's ready,
Yep. Get
and
them
if
on.
you're ready, Shane, I'm going to bring up
I'm
Bear,
rock and
and
roll.
let's get into it, man. Because there's a lot I want to know. You know what I mean? And I
Uh-huh.
want to get him on. There he is, Bear. Welcome to the show. Thank
Hey,
you for
welcome,
taking the
welcome.
time. I know it's got to be kind of busy. You got a big event coming up. This the 11th, and so hey, I'm just going to get to it with this. Um, Give us some background on you, man. Like how did you get into the go kart scene and the promoting and all that stuff, man? Give us a little insight of the bear world.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you both for having me on the show. Been following you for over the last month and really enjoy listening to you guys talk about go karting in the local area. So, absolutely. I'll go back and I'll try to make. I'm long winded, but cut me off at any
Go for
time.
it.
Go
I'll,
ahead.
I'll, uh, I'll go back to kind of where it started because it'll lead into where I am now. Wasn't always into racing. Really didn't get into racing until approximately 1996. I was about 20 years old. My best friend and I decided to buy a Trans Am and put it together to race at Columbus Motor Speedway in the street stock division. We worked on it for over a year. Young at the time, didn't have the funds to do it, and I had to transfer away for work. So we ended up selling that car. But in 2000, I made my way back to Ohio. I moved to Indiana for 2 years. I came back in Ohio in 2000, and I started following in the pits around at Columbus Motor Speedway, and got hooked up with the NASCAR sportsman champion at the time, Jamie Hunt, and I started working with his team for a couple years, and ended up buying his sportsman late model car, and myself and my best friend Joey Block started racing it in 2002. Didn't do too good. Had a couple top tens, but that was asphalt pavement racing, but it was NASCAR sanctioned. In 2003, did the same thing. Started to run out of funds, couldn't really do it anymore. Started following around a gentleman by the name of Scott Leach. In 2004, he ended up winning the Sportsman Championship at NASCAR Championship at Columbus Motor Speedway. He was the youngest driver in Columbus to ever win a NASCAR championship. So I followed him, worked on his team in 2004. 2005, we went ASA late model racing. In 2006, and in 2007, 2008, we went Hooters Pro Cup racing. So all my experience up to then was all asphalt oval racing, anywhere from NASCAR, ASA, and Hooters Pro Cup. In 2010, he got out of big car racing. I was still racing modifies at the time at Columbus Motor Speedway, Killcare, Shady Bowl, and other tracks in Ohio. And in 2012, totally got out of the big car racing. And my brother-in-law, Scott, used to race go-karts. He's a national champion out of North Carolina. And one day in the fall of 2011, he said, hey, you want to race? He's racing go-karts at a local track. And he said, hey, you want to race one of my backup go-karts? I said, sure. So I went down there. It was Limestone Valley Motor Speedway. It was actually their second year. They had been open. And they had a box stock division. And at the time, that was a Greyhound motor. That was our very first clone motors at the time. It was called a Greyhound. And he finished second, I finished third, and I fell in love with it. So the following year, in 2012, we started traveling. Not only the local races, we went all over Ohio, Northern Ohio, BMI, which is a high-banked indoor dirt track, Jackson, Ohio, Ohio Valley, in Limestone. So really liked it, and started seeing the common denominator at some of these tracks. Some of them were great. Some of them needed some help. And the common thing that I heard every time is if you want to make a difference, go out and do it on your own or find a way to give back and provide to the community. So that's what we did. At the end of 2012, we have a family farm in Malaga, Ohio, with a Woodsfield, Ohio mailing address. It's in Monroe County, as far east as you can pretty get. But the fourth county in Ohio. And I started with a friend of mine, Todd Crum, on a bulldozer for about 2 weeks, built the track. And in 2013, we opened the Bear Track Speedway. So at the time, the only two go-kart tracks in our territory was Limestone Valley Motor Speedway and Bear Tracks. And myself and the promoter owner at Limestone, Joey Chambers, we came up with some rules that we could both use together to have, since there were the only two tracks around our area, we developed a go-karting bond and worked together on our schedules. Also, I still wanted to race myself. So in 2013, I got hooked up with another gentleman who's now an SCCA racer by the name of Greg Miller out of Lancaster, Ohio. And we raced together in 2013, and in 2014 created a team, and Jared Johns started driving for us. Jared Johns, a pretty well-known go-kart national racer in the Midwest, and we traveled with him in 2014, 15, 16, and 17 until he went out on his own and got a house ride with Slack Karts in 2018 and 19. So at all this time, we were still running Bear Tracks. It was running about 8 to 10 races a year, plus traveling all over the Ohio and Midwest. We were traveling to Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Indiana, and Michigan to race, and wanted to keep growing it. And another gentleman that we had raced Champ Karts or Cage Karts with partnered up, and in 2016 we came up with the Ohio Champ Kart Series. Now, what this was, it was just two classes, a junior champ class and an adult champ class. And we traveled to the tracks. We started having tracks reopen and open, like I-70, 77 Speedway, Wheelersburg Raceway down in Wheelersburg, Ohio, Route 68 Raceway began in 2015. And so we went to each of these tracks and we brought our 2 classes to the tracks, and really helped get people from our area involved in racing. That lasted from 2016, 17, and by 2018, we had a lot of support from the racing community, not only national, but local, that they wanted us to add classes to the series. So in 2018, we changed from the Ohio Champ Kart Series to the Ohio Championship Karting Series. We kept the same names, but we added about 8 classes, which were all flat kart clone classes, small block open, stock appearing, the kids plate classes, and a predator class. And we ran with that from 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then we finished up in 2023. Just couldn't really, I needed a break. We were running about 15 races a year, plus racing another 20 races a year, and that was about 35.
Oh, wow.
And at the beginning of last year, we started seeing the local racing scene, I don't want to say struggle, but it looked like it needed some help. And I committed myself and our team, Jason Landis, Scott and Brandon Merchant, everybody that raced with us, committed to going to all local tracks. And that's what we did this year. And in the meanwhile, a lot of the track owners and the promoters in our territory had the same common thought process of they wanted to help get more exposure for their tracks. So I talked to a lot of the track owners and promoters and just suggested of maybe having a meeting where we could sit down and talk about our rules and schedules. The biggest thing that we saw locally that was hurting our local racing was, one, maybe tracks scheduling all their races on the same weekend, or people not being familiar with the rules in the classes that they have. So when we had this meeting last year, we all came together. There were 6 tracks of us that came together. We sat down and talked about it and came up with the Ohio Championship, Ohio Valley Predator Championship. And the goal of that was to promote each other's tracks and have an adult class and a kids class that everybody could travel throughout the territory and work together.
I like that.
So yeah, I mean that's great. So when you created this Ohio Valley Predator Championship, obviously it was not thrown together in a short amount of time. I'm assuming you guys sit down and figured out how, where, when. So take me in some of that aspect of like putting this together. Was it difficult, or did it just come together easier than you thought?
I thought it would be difficult. Anytime that you try to get multiple people with ideas and different thought processes together, I thought it was going to be hard. But the people and the track promoters and owners that were involved in this, it did go a lot quicker and smoother than I thought. It's not really a governing body. Basically what it is each track has an opinion, a thought process, and we vote. We actually just had our second meeting, our 2025 meeting last night, and we brought 3 new tracks in, which give us a total of 9 tracks now for the Ohio Valley Predator Championship. Now, of course, with having more tracks, that creates more dates, and it's not going to be as simple if you have a rain out to reschedule, and putting all 9 tracks together is a little harder. But the common theme between all the owners and promoters was if they're having a big race, not necessarily a money show, but maybe a memorial race, maybe the other tracks are just cognizant to not have another big race on that weekend. And of course, with more of the tracks that you have, the harder it is to do that. But the group of people that we have together, I'm very happy and excited. The people that came together to put this on, and they all understand that the goal is to get more people, more racers, families involved with racing at a more substantial or less budget, so it doesn't break the bank. And that was another part of the goal of the local racing. I've raced clones, stock appearing, small block opens for the last 10 to 12 years. We pay anything from $1,200 to $1,700 for an AKRA or NKA clone motor. Mm-hmm. We pay upwards of $2,000 to $3,000 for a stock appearing or small block open. But the Predator rules, or the Harbor Freight Predator motor, mm-hmm. was a great tool to use, an inexpensive tool to get started. Yeah. And that's what the track owners and promoters of the Ohio Valley Championship agreed upon, since myself, Phil, Shane, my wife mm-hmm. could go to Harbor Freight, pull one of the motors off the wall. Usually if they're not on sale, they're around $140, $150. Put a chain guard on, cut the low oil sensor, put a hole in the gas cap, and get on the track. And it was mm-hmm. that simple for the out of the box Predator. Yeah. One of the things that we talked about in this area, and just because of the area that we're in, we decided on the mildly modified Predator, because that was about 90% of the racers between mm-hmm. the 9 tracks in our area. That was the base motor that they use. So now this motor might not be good to race in Kentucky or Pennsylvania and Michigan, but it was a good stepping stone, and it's under $500 to get started. And it gives you a little bit more horsepower. I'm sure, I think both of you have raced a Predator motor before, or know that the Predators are a pretty stout motor, pretty solid, and they're not something that fail or blow up a lot. So that was a good attribute of the motor to use for the championship.
If you do proper maintenance and oil changes, you can get a while out of it.
Right. Go ahead, Phil. So going back, so you guys just had your second owners meeting, and you said there's 9. It went from 6 to 9. What nine tracks do you have now that you're able to use?
All right, I got to use my fingers. So we've got Little Muskie with the Moran family. We've got Hillbilly Hillside, Bear Tracks, Dixie Hollow Speedway, south of New Lexington, Limestone Valley Mower Speedway. Thunderbolt is the new one for this year, with Blake Morris, just outside of Hopewell, Ohio. Honda Hit, which is just reopened, or they've been reopened for a couple of years on the motocross stuff, but they're opening a go-kart track where the big flat track was. Yeah. Two Brothers Raceway down in Jackson, Ohio, and then River Valley Speedway with John Levere.
Awesome.
Nice. So
awesome.
Yeah. So now you're obviously growing, and what I like about this is it kind of gives it a feel for anybody. Either it's a single parent trying to get their kid into the sport, or a set of parents that are trying to give their kids a way to stay out of trouble. This is like an economical way to do it, and go and have fun and build morale with the kid. Maybe use it as a teaching tool to keep them in school and grades up. I mean, that's, there's always a thing there you got to have good grades to keep racing it, especially if you love it. And build the racer or racers of our future, because I mean, if we don't do this, we don't work together, obviously it's going to die. And I think that what all these tracks have in common is allowing you to come there is a good thing, because it just, not only does it let you build for you in the future, but it just allows the community of, because we are a community, us go-kart racers are a community. It's a huge community. Yeah. And it allows us to bring, and you can get different aspects throughout that from everybody, not just one person, but everybody. And I think it's a great thing that you're doing with that. I absolutely love that class. You can literally go to Harbor Freight, pick you up a motor, cut the oil sensor, put a chain guard on it, and you can have your kid out there racing for whatever it costs for a chassis. You can buy chassis now darn near anywhere. You know what I mean? I know you have some there at your shop. I know Bob Wright has some at his. Um, I mean, it's not that expensive to get into this sport, and that's kind of what I like about it. And I think you're obviously doing it right with
So
get these tracks together, and hopefully it continues to grow.
so what is your
So,
classes for that
so
series? Like
go ahead,
what
Shane.
no what so like what are your classes for that championship?
So what all the tracks agreed upon, and I'm gonna say 2024, and then I'll let you know what the changes were in 2025 because no one likes changes, but our goal is to
Right.
adapt, grow for what the tracks feel that they need to grow. Also, not just the championship. That is a an aspect of what the tracks do, and basically all I have been doing is bringing the sponsorship to the table. Everything else, the tracks are responsible for. We bring
Okay.
tech also, but we had two classes. We had a junior class or a senior class, which was 13 and up, and I'll explain you why the 13. So
Okay.
what we had seen in the past, traveling throughout the Midwest, was once we got to that 12, 13, 14 age bracket, we had a lot of kids that went through their change, and puberty hit different kids differently.
Mhm.
So what we saw is in an AKRA or traveling, that 12, 13, and 14 was the transition from either the green to purple plate or purple plate to blue plate.
Mhm.
Well, we had kids that were 150 pounds, 160, 170, and some kids that were 80, 90, and 100 pounds. Well, as you know, with go karting, a lot depends on weight.
Mhm.
That's why we have different weight classes, but
Mhm.
also the skill level. Well,
Mhm.
if you're a 12 or 13-year-old and you jump right into racing today, there's not a lot of classes available to you, and there's not a lot available on a
Mhm.
national level. When these kids got into
Mhm.
racing, flat karting, and it didn't matter if it was Martinville Speedway or Cridersville or Fremont or Wheelersburg, Cincy, any of those, you were at a little bit of a disadvantage. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying the
Yeah.
majority at a disadvantage. So we were trying to provide an intermediate aspect at that 12, 13, and 14-year-old age to get on a less powerful motor. A purple plate motor is probably 8 to 9 horsepower. A blue plate's probably 11 to 12. And an
Mhm.
unrestricted probably 14 to 15 horsepower. So we're trying to find them a niche where they could still be included to race, but they didn't have to compete against the purple and blue platers and the national racers every time. So that's why we
Mhm.
kind of picked that 13-year-old class. What we saw last year was we only started out with 4 kids and 15 adults at our first race at Two Brothers Raceway. At our second race, we had 6 kids and 19 adults. By our third race, we had 10 kids and
Wow.
26 adults. Our fourth race, I believe we had 12 kids and 51 credit. And that's when we really saw that, hey, there's a little bit of disparity here between
Mhm.
the kids class and the adult class,
Mhm.
and 6 of those 10 kids were going to be turning 13 years old, and with them only having one season under their belt, all the track owners and promoters agreed that, hey, we need to do something else to try to alleviate the big adult class, but also provide a class for those youngsters, those young men and women that were going to be moving into the adult class. So
Yeah.
the adult class last year was 13 on up, 350 pounds.
Okay.
Kids 8 to 12 purple plate. So exact same motors, exact same
Mhm.
rules, just installing that restrictor plate. So we had a lot of parents and kids that would take the plate out, and the adult would race the adult class, and the kid would race the
Yeah.
purple class.
We done that before.
But what we
Yeah.
came up with yesterday and all voted on was to expand the middle of that kids class and make
Mhm.
it a 12 to 15-year-old. Give
I
those
like
kids
that.
13 years old 2 more years a chance to
I like
mature
it.
and get better.
Mhm.
And then also, we don't want to alienate the 8 to 11-year-olds. So we
Yeah.
did add a second kids class, which is now 8 to 11 green
Mhm.
plate. So it's the same exact motor, just a different plate. So 8 to
Mhm.
11, 250 green plate, 12 to 15, 290-pound purple plate, and then
Mhm.
15 up, the unrestricted adult motor. So those are the 3 classes.
I like that. I like that because that was one of my things that I always talk about on that gap between leaving a plate and not leaving a plate, and now you're thrown in with the wolves. With all of us could be out there racing, and they're not, and they're just so intimidated, and they don't want to do it no more, and they don't have that chance to develop
We
and
looked at
grow.
we broke down the demographics of the kids and the adults that did race, and
Mhm.
we had about 8 um, young men and women that were in that 13, 14, and 15
Mhm.
age bracket that raced with us in the adults, and weren't very competitive. And we don't want
Yeah.
to
No.
disclude anybody racing, but we tried to get them in that closer demographic that we thought
Mhm.
would create a bigger class and more camaraderie between those kids
Mhm.
and they race together.
Yeah, kind of like you just got to work your way up, go through the different classes, and if you start out from the beginners, you got to work your way up through. Now, so after would you say 15? Now they're in with the adult side of things.
Yep. And it
Gotcha.
is a track discretion and a parent
Okay.
discretion. It's not
Okay.
something that myself or one person sets the
Hmm.
rule at.
Okay.
If that parent and that promoter agree that, hey, this child is been winning every kids race, and they agree
Hmm.
at 15 years old they're ready to move up, that's a
That's what I
decision.
was going to ask.
That's a decision that the parent and the promoter jointly make
Because
for the safety and the well-being of their child.
So
that
I have a question. So
Go ahead.
one of the questions
You're
I
good,
have
Phil.
for you, Bear, at putting this together, um, what has been the strongest part? Like once you get to the racetrack, and what has been the roughest part of all this? I mean, not only getting it together, getting your sponsors, finding the tracks to go to, coming up with the rules, but once you get there, has there been any issues at all that you had to deal with right then and there? Then now you got to step back and think, okay, I never even thought about this, or we never thought about that, or
Being totally transparent, our crew ran big money shows where we had between 200 to 300, upwards of 400 entries per day, where we had started
oh,
Friday night parking people. Saturday, we started 8 a.m. and we didn't get done till midnight. So it has actually been a breath of fresh air to work with the local promoters, track owners, and owners. And only having 2 classes, we don't just stay for the 2 classes. We help our crew, myself, Jason, Jeremy, AJ Cannon, BJ Cannon, Timmy Glassburn, Cameron Miller, Desi McHenry. We help with all aspects of the track. And when we're there, we ask the crew, where do you need help? They have their own flagmen, their own corner workers, their own scale people. We just try to fill in wherever we can at the track and bring the knowledge that we had running the big shows over the last 5 to 8 years to show them that it can be done in a timely manner. It can be done without fighting and arguing, and it can be done and to where it's very fun. And that's what,
Mhm.
yes, starting out 10 years ago, I failed in everything from how to tech, how to prep the track, how to deal with people, how to be empathetic, how to score, everything. I failed miserably, 100%. But failing in all those aspects showed the areas that where we could excel in, and where we didn't have problems. Just like if someone wanted to argue about a rule, it was black and white. It didn't matter if it was my best friend racing, my wife, or Mike Dickerson. The rule's the rule, and that's it. So
Right.
made it very simple, very cut and dry. And one of the philosophies or saying that I came up with is I would rather be 50% right than 100% wrong. And that was a big thing that we went with. And there's always two carts racing hard and one cart spins. What do? Every track has a different rule, and that's great. One that we came up with was if you spun, you go to the tail. You stop, you go to the tail. And that's not always the right thing, but it's better being 50% right than 100% wrong. And there's very few times that we put a cart to the tail that didn't spin, but one of our mottos was, if you were driving violent or it was an act of violence, then we would either escort you off the track or put you to the tail. But I've seen a lot at a lot of local tracks and national tracks lately. That guy in second taking out that guy in first for 5,000. You got to remember, you might be at the next track where the roles reverse for 10,000 to win, and that guy in second takes out that guy in first, and it's just a compounding problem. Now, I'm not saying here we race for $10,000, but a lot of guys race for a sticker and a trophy thinks it's $10,000. So we take it all seriously. It doesn't matter if you're racing for a sticker or $10,000. And so the circling back, I'm full. I talk too much. The hardest thing that we had to learn was to be patient. We had traveled all over the United States racing, and we can't expect the guy that just started last week to know everything. So we have a platform for the younger kids, even the younger parents and the parents that weren't in racing, to understand the basics, like the flags. The layover flag is very important for new racers. That's one thing that we really talk about a lot, where when that yellow flag, the blue and the yellow flag come out, to make sure that you either pick a line. We usually either designate the track, stay on the bottom, stay up top, don't stop, pick a line, and these are coming and you must give way. That is one of the biggest things. The other thing is to educate the racers and parents on the rules. You go to this track for stock appearing might be different from that track, and to understand that the reason they have their rules is so everybody is on a level playing field and abides by it. I never want to DQ anybody, but I have DQ'd quite a few people, and it's always been for that black and white rule, and that's the line in the sand to try to keep everybody on a level playing field.
Awesome.
Okay, so when you put this together, when you put all this together, did you personally go and look at each track to figure out where you was going to go to maybe set what you want your championship to be, or do you still do that today, or is it just like, hey, I want to join the Ohio Valley Championship, here's my track, I'd like for you to come? Is that how it works, or how does a track become part of your championship?
So basically, if there's a track out there, we extend an invitation to say, hey, we are the Ohio Valley Predator Championship. These are the tracks that are currently having a race at their tracks, just that adopted these 2 or 3 classes just for that night. We are here to help, and our biggest goal is to showcase your track and get people to come to your track. It's not a traveling deal. You don't have to go track to track. There's a lot of people that the only time they race the Ohio Valley Predator Championship is when that track has their night to promote that race. So I'm just the mouthpiece for the Ohio Valley Predator Championship. Greg Clary, Kristen Moran, John Hevner, Blake Morris, Jeff Baker, Allie Carter, and Matt Fessler, they have as just much vested interest as I do in the OVPC. I'm like Michael Johnson, the Speaker of the House. I put it out
Okay.
there. Those tracks are responsible for their own track maintenance, their schedules. If there's a question or a concern, they reach out to me and we work together. But this is about showcasing each track in our area to its fullest potential. The main goal is locally we don't see a lot of money races. One, because it's expensive. Entry fees usually go up, pit passes go up,
Right.
and a lot of the out of town guys come into these shows. They sweep the classes, and then our locals are left with fourth, fifth, sixth places and no money and no prizes. So the goal was to put on a money style event, very inexpensive, but yet get big prizes out there. A set of tires is $285. A set of wheels is $180. A gallon of oil is $40. A can of brake cleaner is $3 or $4. Just with a $10 entry fee to be able to race for a $285 set of tires, that's big for a lot of guys. And
So
we gave away 16 sets of tires, 16 sets of wheels, 16 gallons of oil, and 16 bottles of brake cleaner this year, and that was over $11,000 in prizes for everybody.
So you do that for every
Wow, that's
race and not at the end of the season, correct?
Correct.
For every track.
Correct.
Okay.
So
Just making that clear.
if we went to Little Muskie June 32nd, Tristan has the 2 sets of tires, the 2 sets of wheels, 2 gallons of oil, and after tech is over, they get their prizes and get their picture in front of the Victory Link banner. The tracks get all the pit pass money and all the registration money. Nothing comes back into the OVPC, and we actively are searching for sponsors. That's why we're always out there just asking, $20, $50, $100, whatever they want to contribute. That money gets turned into those prizes, because not all the prizes are donated and free. Sometimes we have to pay for them, but all that goes directly back to the racers. So when we went
you work as like a nonprofit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a group of tracks working for the same goal.
Okay. That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
sorry. Yeah, that's great. So, all right, let's go. So after the race is over, before race and after race, you have a tech, right? You're teching the cars. Who does your tech for you, or does it the track does the tech, or do you have your own personal guy that follows your championship that does tech for you?
In 2024, I went to all the races. I went to help them wherever they needed help. Myself, Jason Landis, we went to every race. So there were 6 races, and there was a bonus race, a Predator Race of Champions that we had. But we went to all the races, and I did all the tech. In 2025, with having 9 tracks, I'm not going to be able to make it to all the races and all the tracks. And our goal is, because we have it's not a strict motor policy or tech, but there is tech, and there's things that you have to follow. This year, the certified tech people will be Jason Landis and AJ Cannon, and we're trying to bring more people on board to tech also. So it's, I didn't race in one. I did race in the first event, but I saw that it was going to just be too much work to try to help organize lineups, help in the pits. So I did race the very first race at Two Brothers, but I didn't race any of the rest of them. In 2025, our goal is to get a couple more tech people out there, make it as unbiased as possible, and show the tracks what they need to. I bought tech tools for Limestone Valley Mower Speedway this year, so they could check their plates and carburetors and different stuff like that. But I will still be traveling, but we have 2 more gentlemen now that'll be traveling to the tracks also. So there's a total of 3 tech officials for the OVPC.
Nice. That's nice when you can put it together and you can sustain it all in house, and it could be this clear cut. This is it. These are the rules. We're going to stick to the rules. Don't break them. I like that aspect of them. The other question I had, you already answered. I was going to ask if you raced at any of your events, but you said you only raced in one, and you was out doing your thing with the show, and I commend that because I mean it's hard as a promoter to put on a show, make sure your lineups are right, make sure everybody's in the right spot, and you to go out there and race, it's difficult. I mean, it's hard. We've all guys that are in this really deep have already figured that out, and so it sounds like 2025 is going to be really big for you guys. You got 3 new tracks coming on board. You got to sit down and figure out where you're going to go throughout the whole race season and put it all together. When will you have all that information out for guys to start getting ready for the big first race that you're having?
Our goal for all 9 tracks, a couple of tracks already had their schedules written down last night that they brought to the meeting last night. The goal is by the February the 8th at the Cameron and Mike Moore's swap meet in Roseville, Ohio, down at the Roseville Community Center, to have all those schedules. We'd like to have them February 1st at OVKA, but that only gives us a little over 3 weeks to get it out there and published, put on the website, and put on paper and get on the boards. But each one of the tracks proposes a date that they want to have a OVPC race, and then they work with all the other tracks on our message board, and they work out those dates. It's not something set by me or anybody else. It's those tracks. And I think there's already 4 tracks that already have their OVPC date submitted into the rest of the tracks, and they just have to sign off on it.
So what it sounds like to me,
I mean, that's great. So you're saying that you wanted to have it by the 1st of February, which is crazy because like you're about to have the first indoor show, which is coming up this weekend, that you guys literally put together in what, 20 days from the time that you guys announced it? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. So I mean, to put this race together in 3 weeks, that is a big feat in its own. So how did you guys come to pick the location that we're getting ready to have a race at? So let's talk about the Polar Bear Bash that you're about to have.
Okay, so you could say I'm a glutton for punishment, and I am thick-skinned, but that's just when you do it enough. Like I said, you fail enough, you know how to put things together. So there's not very many venues that can hold big races or even indoor races. In the winter of 2013 and 14, we were fortunate enough to have indoor races at Route 62 MX track outside of Martinsburg, Ohio. That was kind of the first time we cut our teeth on indoor stuff, and it was super successful. I mean, all the guys in the area, it was kind of in the middle of Ohio. We had guys coming from up north, guys from down south, and that was great. I have been in contact with Route 62 in the last couple of years, and their motocross stuff has just exploded. It is so big. They have so many events up there that it's not really feasible to cut the track down, make it a go-kart track, then build a MX track again. So I commend Route 62 MX track. The guys up there do a phenomenal job. The facility is pristine. The parking, everything is great. So again, we're limited to the areas that we do indoor racing. The closest indoor racing for us is actually Liberty, Kentucky. And from my house, it's almost 5.5 hours. So it's a pretty big haul. 12 years ago, I thought it was only like 7 or 8 years ago. 12 years ago, Brian Hammond, that ran Ohio Valley Speedway outside of Wellston, Ohio, put on a race at this venue called Henderson's Arena. They put on 2 shows. The third show, they started having a little bit of trouble, didn't keep the discipline together, and no fault of Brian's own, but he was just done. He was done with it. And it took us 12 years before we could all come together again. So Gregory Clary came to me from Two Brothers Raceway about 2 months ago and said, "Hey, what do you think about maybe trying to do something at Henderson's Arena again?" I said, "Great." I said, "If you're friends with them, talk to them, explain to them what we'd like to do and see if they're up for it." So Greg talked to them about 2 weeks before Christmas, I believe.
I think
And
that's when we had him on. Yeah.
yep, Greg called me up a couple days before Christmas and says, "Hey, they want to have a meeting down there. They want you to propose what we would like to do and see if it would be feasible to have a race down there." So I met Greg and the owner, Ben Druschel, on site, I believe Sunday, December 20th at 1 p.m. We walked around the facility. It was very transparent. He told us how much the fees were, everything that we would incur. We talked about everything from EMT to the day before, the day after, track maintenance, everything that you can think of, we talked about. And we ironed it out and had a gentleman's handshake that evening. And I believe, and I went live from the facility once we shook hands. And I think we got over 18 or 19,000 views just on that video, and it spread like wildfire. And that Sunday night, people started already calling and asking for pitting, what kind of pitting we had, indoor, outdoor, trailer parking, sponsors. And of course, you can imagine the phone just blows up 24/7. Doesn't matter, 1 in the morning, 5 in the morning, or 3 in the afternoon. So this is a joint collaboration between Gregory Clary, Two Brothers Raceway promoter, and myself and my team, the Bear Tracks crew, to put on this indoor race. So there's a lot that you have to do. I have a notebook of just items that we have to cover, no matter if we have an OVPC race, a Bear Tracks race, or an Ohio Championship karting race. And there's a lot of stuff you have to follow. One of the biggest things, and one thing that I will never go without, is insurance. And I've been a proud National Karting Alliance member for 12 years. Nikki Center over in Indianapolis. I always fill out every application. I do all the paperwork for all the tracks that I put on. And encourage other tracks to follow suit, because there's nothing worse than one person causing a problem, whether it be the track's fault or the person's fault, just to have that insurance to cover you. So going through the insurance process to get insurance for the racing, setting up the track, setting up to make sure we can make the track as safe as possible, putting up either hay bales or sawdust bales or fencing, making sure we have a grid, making sure we have a way to water the track, make sure to keep the track together, a ventilation system, electric, adequate parking, an emergency exit plan, EMTs, pitting, registration, timing, scoring, complaint department, everything. So it was a lot. It was a short time frame, but our crew is used to it, and I commend a lot of the sponsors for jumping on board right away. Another thing that we like to pride ourselves on is the amount of time it takes a show. If you're getting there at 8, 9, 10 in the morning, you don't want to be there till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And we used to see that at these big events across the Midwest, and something that our crew, Midwest Race Champions, now Buddy Wilson with the True Midwest Kart Series, and we're trying to get those karters in and out of that show in about 8 to 10 hours so they can get on the road by 10, 11 o'clock and not get home at 5, 6 in the morning and lose the entire next day. So keeping a show moving, having a good grid crew, Jeremy Miller, Gary John, Ryan Hindle, Jason Yerian are great at the grid. We get them lined up. They have their grid sheets. We get them out on the track. We stop them in turn 3. We give them 1 to go. They do their heat race or their feature. Another thing that we really like to do is when there's a caution, we stop all the karts on the track. We get them lined back up. and then we give them one to go. That is,
I like that.
you have 5 or 6 cautions a race. Each one of those cautions takes 3 minutes, and you have carts that keep going around the track every time. You're trying to get them in line. When you stop them in turn 3, you line them back up. You give them one to go. That eliminates those 5, 6, 7 laps, and also being able to start tech as soon as you're done with that class. So if you're only running in green plate or only running in purple plate and you're done for the night and you won, you can go into tech and usually get tech within a half an hour at the end of your race.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm just going to turn it over to you. Let us tell you everything. But I do have a question for you. You started the pre-registration, and can you please tell us how any racer out there can pre-register, and how many carts do you already have now that are already said they're coming?
Absolutely. On my Facebook page, on the Polar Bear Bash event page on Facebook, there is a link. It's a Google's document, and it takes you maybe a minute, 2 minutes to fill out. I believe Flat Cart Mafia shared it. Shane Phil shared it. I will be sharing it again every day for the next 5 days. You just go on that link. No money is required, but what it does is it puts your name, your cart number, and what classes you plan to enter. Then you kind of know how much you're going to spend on those classes that you're racing on. If we have a duplicate karting number in that class, it gives us a chance to separate that already and tell that carter, whoever was the first one, say there's 3 people that have the cart number 10, we'll say we need you to add a 1 or an X or another number next to your cart. So if you've ever scored and you're watching those carts go around, if you have 2 number 10s and you forget which one it was, the black one or the white one, sometimes it creates problems when you're trying to line people up for features. So it gives us a chance to find out how many pre-entries we are, because based on the entries, we kind of know how many people are going to show up. Then we can tell the concession stand how many people to prepare for the food, and we know if we're going to have to accommodate for more parking. I can tell you, I just looked at it before. We have over 100 entries.
Wow.
Just pre-entered, and some of the big classes are the OVPC Predator class and small block open. I think we had 13 entries just in small block open already.
Wow.
And another thing that Greg Clary wanted to do is he was tired of seeing at these money shows, and this is kind of in between a money show and a local race. We wanted to make sure that we provided classes that were synonymous to the local racing. That's why you see the OVPC, and I'll talk about a little bit about that. We're trying something with the OVPC at this race with combining the out-of-the-box motor to try to get more of the locals at an inexpensive rate to race. But I think 74 pit spots. So if you take 74 pit spots and you just average 2 cart entries per pit spots, that's a minimum of 144 entries so far. And there's a lot of people on that list of the pre-entries. And I know a lot of kart racers, but I'd say half of them I didn't even know. So that tells me that a lot of my friends and a lot of the locals that race with us haven't even pre-entered yet. And that number is going to go up a lot higher.
Okay, so
that's awesome.
With all that, is the parking situation with you? I know you had some indoor. I've talked to you a couple times prior to this that you had covered. Where are you at with the pit stalls, and what do you have left, or do you have anything at all?
We'll always accommodate. If I have to put you on a roof somewhere, we'll accommodate you. But the indoor pitting literally sold out in the first 2 hours. That was totally. Now there was only 24 indoor pit spots. We want to make sure we kept the fire lanes and we didn't crowd everybody in there. But those were gone quick. I did post a map. So what I do is I take a snapshot of the facility. I'm not a very good technical person, but I kind of filled in areas. I put numbers, 1 for the covered area, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were like in yellow. where that was like reserve trailer parking. There was a blue area for free parking, because we always we offer sponsor parking, reserve parking, and free parking. We never tell anybody they have to pay for parking. But the sponsors, if they want to sponsor the race and they want to have premium parking, we usually give them better spots. Some sponsors say, hey, put me anywhere. So what we do, every facility is different. And if you've ever played the game Tetris, that's how I treat parking. Some places just say, there's your spot. It's 12 foot by 80 foot. It doesn't matter if you're working out of the back of your truck or if you have a 73 foot. It doesn't matter. But what we try to do is we try to maximize the parking wherever we go. Because if I can get you 10 feet or 20 feet closer, that makes people happy.
Right.
It makes them feel get to the grid and off the grid a lot quicker without expelling a lot more energy. Even though some of us, we need to be a little bit further away from the grid. So the yellow was reserve trailer parking. That was $20, and then the blue was free. And what I do whenever someone calls or texts or private messages me and say, hey, Bear, can I get a pit spot? I'll ask them, do you want covered parking? Because there's an arena, which is about 100 by 100, I believe it is. And we set up 10 by 10 canopy spots. So that's real close to the grid. And with it being enclosed on 3 sides and a roof, that's really going to cut the wind aspect out of it. And you'll still be able to run a turbo heater if you have an enclosed canopy and stay warm. At first, it looked like it was going to be in the 15 to 18 degree range for Saturday. Now it looks like it's going to be in the 25 to 28 degrees. It's going to help out a lot.
Right.
So the parking, we do have about 10 to 12 covered parking spots left. I have 3 sponsor spots left, and we will find a spot for your trailer around the facility. I have plenty. It's on an 8-acre complex, just a gravel area. I don't want to have to see you push 3 football fields, but we'll get you in there, and there's plenty within 100 yards of the facility.
So
Nice.
what's it like for the spectators if you're just coming just to watch a race? What's the seating like for just spectating?
Yep, and that's an awesome question. So whenever we have outdoor racing, we know that karting is really not a spectator sport. It's not NASCAR. It's not Lucas Oil. We don't have a lot of. Most of the people that are in the stands are the pit people, or your moms, your grandmas, your sisters, your cousins that come and watch your race. So the neat thing about Henderson's Arena is they have bleachers, like at a basketball game, the big wooden ones.
Okay.
Nice.
And they can house over 400 people just in the bleacher section, which is totally 100% separate than the racing area.
Nice.
It goes all the way up to about 12 feet. So on the east side of the facility, so when you come through the gate on Saturday, to make sure we account for everybody and the insurance, when you come through the gate, you'll declare if you're a pit racer that needs a pit pass or your general admission. If you're a pit person, you'll get 1 color armband. If you're general admission, it's only $5, and 6 and under is free. So we're trying to make it affordable for the entire family to come and race. A lot of the times at these racetracks, the 9 tracks that we have, not all of them, but some of them, you have to buy a pit pass because there's no real separation between the pit and the general admission area. Now, some places there are, and that's great. But that's another thing that we were trying to do in the next couple years is separate the general admission from the pit pass so we can make it a spectator sport. But the $5 was very critical. We still have a lot of expenses. Our goal is to break even. We want the facility to be successful. They're doing the concession stand, which is they have a phenomenal schedule of food. It's all indoors, so you can walk literally 20 feet, 40 feet out of your seat at the general admission area, all concrete, walk to the concession stand. Same thing, there's a separate door for the pit entrance for the people that are in the pits that want to go up and get a burger or hot chocolate or chili cheese fries or something. They can walk right in there. They have a men's and women's restroom facility, plus multiple portalets throughout the facility, multiple doors, multiple ventilation fans up in the the walls to make sure if in the small block opens, the alcohol, the methanol, making sure we get the movement through there. And it's an all around great facility. But that was one of the things that Greg and I come up with was the general admission, 6 and under. Even in the pits, if you're 6 and under, not racing, it's free. That's the least we can do for
awesome.
to try to get them support.
Nice.
I know.
mean,
I know with
great.
the family my size, when we go to the track, and it's just like $90 just to get my kids and myself through the gate and stuff like that. So I like to hear the low general admission cost, and 6 and under is free. So hopefully you guys can generate a lot of just spectators alone to come in and just watch some racing too.
Right. Okay, so with the parking, we got some spots there. You got some spots open. So if you guys want to get a spot before you get there, please go to his. I've dropped the link several times. Get a hold of them guys. Get your spot. That way you'll be up front. And you ain't got to walk 3 football fields, as he says, but they'll accommodate you, which is great. So, okay, I'm going to turn it over to you, Bear, and tell us everything that you got going on for the 11th. Will you please?
Absolutely. We'll actually back up and go to the 10th. So what we do, we have a lot of people traveling from out of state. We have people coming from Michigan, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Kentucky, and they make a weekend out of it. They'll stay in their trailer. They'll stay
Wow.
Actually has 3 Airbnb places right on the grounds. I did reserve my crew. They have a cabin. They have a efficiency that's attached to one of the horse barns. So Friday, we're going to open gates from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. if you want to come in and set up in your indoor spot or your outdoor spot or your trailer if you just want to set up early or drop your trailer. I know a lot of people are going to utilize that convenience. Sean Lynn with Lynn Performance, our parts guy, coming down on Friday night. And then we're going to shut the gates at 9 o'clock, secure the facility. We're going to reopen at 8 a.m. sharp Saturday morning, and we'll have a canopy and a table and 3 to 4 guys. I'll be out there. We'll be come up in your vehicle. You don't even have to get out of your vehicle. We'll come up to you. You'll sign the pit pass forms, all the necessary insurance forms, get your armbands, and then I will direct you to your spot or spots. Greg Clary's going to let us borrow his 4-wheeler, and then I'll come back, and then we'll get everybody pitted, everybody parked with their general admission. We'll get their car parked in a nice area. 10:30, we are going to have the drivers meeting. So in the general admission area, there's bleachers on the right side. On the west side, there's bleachers also, where we'll have a drivers meeting. We'll go over everything that you need to be aware of for the day, all the etiquette, the flags, all the pertinent information at 10:30. At 11 o'clock, or as close to 11 o'clock, is when we want to start practice. And we're going to start practice by class. What we mean by that, a couple days, once we get all the pre-registration, it gives us a feel for how many is coming. We'll develop a class order. We have 14 classes plus a juice box division. So if there's people running clone light, medium, and heavy, we don't want to have their classes all 3 together. So we'll separate them. Maybe we'll run a rookie class, then we'll run clone light, then we'll run clone sumo, then we'll run purple plate, then we'll run medium, something to that effect. So you have time to go back, because a lot of these guys, we did put up some good money for the show. A lot of these guys will race multiple classes. I know we have a lot of local teams coming in, but we have a lot of traveling teams like Chase Caudle Racing, Ian Keelan Racing. They're going to come up. Alex Sayer with Small Block Opens is going to be coming up to race. So we want to separate those classes, and then we're going to have a control practice, which means if you're in that clone light class, you'll go out, you'll get your 5 to 7 laps of practice. Maybe you're going to race clone medium also. We go by that structure of the class structure, and you can go out again and practice. Practice usually takes about an hour and a half to get through those usually get through those 14 classes. After that, we'll see if we need to do some track maintenance. Usually indoor takes a lot less track maintenance than outdoor because you don't have the wind and the sun to deal with. But with this being the first time, I'm sure we're going to have to do some spot spraying or maybe fix a couple bumps, stuff like that. And then we'll go into qualifying and heats. With this being kind of it is a money show, but we also want to give the beginner classes more track time as much as possible. The rookie in the kid karts class and the OVPC Predator classes will be doing heat races. All the rest of the classes will be doing qualifying. So basically, you'll come out on the track, you get your green flag, your white flag, and your checker. You'll get 2 qualifying laps, and you'll take your best lap for time. In every class, if we have more than 12 entries, we will have a consi. So we'll lock in X amount of karts, 8 to 10, and then we'll take 2 to 4 out of the consi to create the A main feature. So we'll go through qualifying and heat races, then we'll have a 10-minute break. We have some great scores. Greg's going to help score. Teresa Cox and Jason Landis will be doing scoring and timing. And then we'll go to the consi lineups. You'll have a couple minutes in between, and we go directly into the features. So we just keep moving. Honestly, we like to keep the show moving, and our goal is to usually get the kids out of there as quick as possible, because they start getting tired around 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Also, I'll back up a little bit. We do the pre-registration. There's also going to be a little shed inside the building in the northeast corner where you come through to do your actual sign up and pay for your classes. That'll be done between the 8 and 10:30. So you'll have 2.5 hours to get yourself signed up. We'll get you on the list. And then the qualifying, we won't have a specific, once you're in that Clone Light class, there will just be, we use a thing called Timmy the Timer. And basically, it's a countdown clock, and we'll blow a horn. And once that horn starts, you have 10 minutes to qualify. A lot of the racers play games. They like to qualify last. But the rule is you have to be in your cart with your cart running by the time that time expires to be able to get your qualifying time. If not, you don't get a qualifying time.
Okay.
Sometimes you group qualify or pull a number, but with it being cold outside, what we don't want to see is 20 racers just sitting there waiting for their number to get out there. We'd like to see you within that 10 minutes. You come and qualify when you want. So again, it'll take approximately 90 minutes to qualify those 13 to 14 classes.
Gotcha.
Okay, so on your timing, how are you using a transponder, or how are you qualifying?
What we're using is what we call a Traxtronic timing light system. So we have a computer, and there is a send and a receive, and it breaks the beam, and it sends the signal to a computer we have attached to it, and it'll get us up to 5 laps. So this will get us our qualifying laps. After the qualifying, we'll print it out, put everybody in order, and post it up on a wall so everybody can see it. We'll have a cutoff line. Everybody below the line will have to run a consi. But for the features, we are very successful with the 4 people we have on the track and the people we have up in the scoring tower of keeping track of all the racers. Now you're going to say, well, Bear, sometimes it gets rough. There's 3 or 4 carts going. We have a system, and we have a system that we developed over the last couple years that makes it a lot easier for the entire crew. The flag man is in charge of the first 3 positions. Should be able to keep track of first, second, and third. You always know, the flagman always knows where the leader is going around the track. Right. We have another dedicated just for 4th, 5th, and 6th, a third person for 7th, 8th, and 9th, and a 4th person for 10th, 11th, and 12th. So you only have 4 people that have to keep track of 3 carts, and it makes it a lot easier when there's only 12 carts. Now, like when we went down to Daytona or we go to the Midwest Race Champions, absolutely you need a transponder system because you're starting 24 to 30 carts on the track. You cannot keep track all those numbers. But in a small environment, only starting 12 carts in a feature and only 6 in a heat race, it's a lot easier. And our officials, our crew members are very experienced. I'm not saying that we don't make mistakes from time to time, but our guys know what is expected. They know what to keep track. And if someone breaks, that's even simpler. We know that person finished in 12. Now we only got to keep track of 11 cars.
Right. Okay. So just go into it, man. Tell us about the rules and everything that you got going on, and It's the stage is all yours.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we're going to be running 14 classes. We did just in the last 2 days add kid kart class, and I'll explain what a kid kart class is, because usually we combine them with the rookie class. And I alluded to earlier, I talked about this is kind of between a local show and a money show. We have a lot of local classes in here, but we also have the traveling money classes, because the traveling guys bring the intermediate guys. They bring the guys that are just getting in the sport or trying. It's the guys that look up to that next group of racers. I know when I was kind of started out, I always wanted to hang out with the guys that were more experienced, and that's what these big teams do. The big teams bring the intermediate racers. The intermediates bring the beginners. So we have something for every.
Right.
Start out with the juice box class. That's the 24-volt radio flyer. Any kid that hasn't raced a regular kart is more than welcome to race the radio flyer. We'll have their practice at the end of our practice, and their feature will be the first feature before the main feature start. So they'll be on the track twice. They'll get to make about 2, 3, 4 laps, and we have little prizes sponsored by Gary John Racing and Brian Sewell Racing for those racers. Next class is rookie red plate. And normally with an AKRA rule, we don't include predators, but this rookie red plate is 5 to 7 years old. It's a junior, it's a cart, it's a full-size cart. So the kid cart is they look like the road course carts. They have a shorter wheelbase. They usually have the Homer or the Predator 79cc motor on their class. And then this rookie class, because there's a lot of 5, 6, 7-year-olds. Some might be 67 to 80 pounds. Some might be 30, 40, 50 pounds. That's the rookie red plate. We're including the clone red plate motor or the Predator 212 red plate motor. Same pipe, everything looks the same. It's just we're including the Predator or the clone. Green plate has 2 classes: a green plate warm-up, which they're racing for a set of tires, and green plate pro, where they're racing for $200 to win. Now, those classes are clone only. That is 8 to 10 years old, 280 pounds, and that is synonymous with all of Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Michigan. That is a traveling class. Purple plate clone is 15, 300 pounds. The warm-up class is for a set of tires, and one of the big money shows is in that class. I always try to do a big money purse for one of the kids' classes and one of the adults. That 11 to 15 is paying $500 to win. They have a warm-up. It's a warm-up and a pro class. And the reason we do 2 classes is because if you're 12 years old and you only have one motor, you can only run one class. So we do a warm-up and a pro to give them double the time on the track.
Awesome.
We have the regular AKRA clone adult classes, which is 15 and up. And it's clone light is 325 pounds. Clone medium is 350 pounds. Clone heavy is 375. Clone super heavy is 400 with a 200-pound driver with gear. And clone sumo is 420 pounds with a 220-pound driver. And all those classes are 200 to win, except for clone heavy. That is 500 to win.
Oh, wow, nice.
Our last class is small block open, and it's any small block, any Tillotson, Honda, Animal, LO206, Predator, clone motor. As long as it's small block, it can't be a V-twin, it can't be a twin cylinder, it has to be a small block motor. We did that. We can incorporate the 14.5 cubic inch motors and the stock appearing. A couple of the stock appearing guys say, hey man, I'm not going to be able to compete with those small block opens. This is a very small track. You're going to have a hard time getting all that power down to the ground. You will be competitive. So it incorporates more in it. And as we see with the pre-registration, they already have 13 in that class already. So I don't think it deterred too many people from that class already. Those are our 14 classes. The last 2 classes, because we're trying something different to incorporate more people. The Ohio Valley Predator Championship class is combining with the out-of-the-box Predator motor. We're trying this to see if this is going to work going forward. It's worked at other tracks in the past. So the Ohio Valley Predator Championship has their own rules for their motor. It's a modified Predator motor where you remove the governor, You take the
Mhm.
gas tank, put a top plate fuel pump, you put an aftermarket flywheel on. You either run a weenie pipe or a stock exhaust, and it does have about a horse and a half more than the stock out of the box motor, usually between 8 and 9 horsepower. But what we're going to try to do is, and that's for the 13 and up, so we're still using the 2024 rules until the outdoor season starts. We're trying to merge that with the out of the box motor. And it's only going to really work for a group of people that weigh in between a certain.
Mhm.
So what we're going to do is there's a 350 weight minimum for the adult class. With the out of the box motor, there is no weight rule at all.
Okay.
What that does is that person that weighs under 150 pounds is pretty much going to have a 60-pound weight break. And that's
Mhm.
that cutoff. So if your driver only weighs 80 or 90 pounds, they're going to have an 80-pound weight break, which a horse and a half, that they're going to be super competitive now. So, and the only thing you have to do with the out of the box motor is we talked about. Phil even was talking about it. You cut the low oil sensor, you put the hole in the gas cap, you put a chain guard on, and you go. That's it. Now, the only the only thing that we have seen in the last year is the non-Hemi 212 Predator motors, the 69730 part number they have been putting 15-pound valve springs in them from China. So that's the only thing that you have to look at. It's very easy to figure out. You take the valve cover off. If it's got 5 coils in it, it's going to be a 15-pound valve spring. If it's got 4 coils in it, it's going to be a 10.8 or under. That's the only thing that we are checking on it, just because China did change up in 2024, and we did find a couple motors that had those 15-pound valve springs that were stocked. So
Now,
those are
now,
important classes.
now is that something that let's say I just bought one and it had that 15-pound in. We ran it. You guys check it. Me being extremely new at it, let's just say I just bought this car. It's my first event. Uh, what would you do in that situation?
What I'm asking everybody to do if they're running an out of the box motor, we are doing a pre-tech, and the pre-tech is
Okay.
mostly safety to make sure your lead is colored white, painted white, and is double nutted or has a cotter
Okay.
key through it. So we find those little things like rotor guards going over. We call them
Mhm.
wolf plates. If the brake disc is underneath your seat, you have to have something
Mhm.
over
Right.
some kind
Yeah.
of sheet. Your seat breaks and goes
Yeah.
backward. It was created for the man that did get paralyzed because the brake disc went through his spine. So we do a pre-tech for that. If we see a Predator non-Hemi motor, we're going to ask you, did you check your valve springs? And even if you're brand new, we're going to have valve springs there.
Okay.
Very
That's that was my next question.
very expensive. And again, this isn't to segregate anybody to say that you can't run an out of the box stock motor. What we're trying to do is create as much of a level playing field as we can.
Mhm.
A lot of guys, buy motors from their buddies. Their buddies say, "Hey, it's 100% legal." They go, they win, they get tech, and they fail tech because they didn't know what was in
Right.
it.
Yeah.
There's a lot on the big engine side. I know myself, and I'm not going to say any specific motor builder, but I've gone through tech, and they said, "Barry, you're illegal." I say, "Okay, thank you. Show me what it is. Have a nice day." I take that motor. I send it back to my motor builder. I said, "Hey, I was illegal. I didn't build the motor. I don't know what's in it, but
Mhm.
you hear the same thing from racers all the time. I have no
Right.
the motor. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that fault. I'm just saying that your motor is illegal. I'll take the
Yeah.
time to show them. We do it in private because most of the time the people that racer didn't build the motor, so they
Mhm.
don't know, and then they feel like they're labeled as a cheater all the time when they're DQ'd. So we take that out of the equation. We say, hey, this is what's illegal. Get it fixed. But again, to comment on your question, if you have a non-Hemi, and that is the hexagonal
Mhm.
valve cover, the Hemi is the stamped rectangular dull finished valve cover. And You can't. It's hard to get wrong. Even I can tell the difference between a Hemi and a non-Hemi Predator. The Hemi motor has the rectagonal dull valve cover. You come up to us, we're going to ask you, did you check your valve springs? Like, yep, we're good. I made sure I got the smaller springs in. Or if you don't, that's one of the things. I wish we didn't have to do it, but I have no control over what Harbor Freight puts in their motors.
Right.
We're at the expense.
I just know we have quite a few listeners on here that are very, very new that don't know the difference and stuff like that. So that's why I asked, just so then
Yep.
you can explain it,
Please,
so
if you're running Predator class, come see me. Come see myself.
Mhm.
Come see Tim Burkhammer with Burkhammer Performance. He is our tech guy. I'll be helping with the Predator tech. I do not have any a dog in the fight in terms of the racing. I'm not racing. Jason's not racing. None of my team members are racing this event at all. We are helping a lot of youngsters to try to get on the tracks by letting them borrow tools, motors, parts, and stuff like that. But please, if you have a question, private message me, call me, text me.
Yes.
We're shop from 7 to 11 on Tuesdays and Thursdays religiously. We're trying to do the best we can to get the word out to everybody. And then I'll be able to tell, too. I'll be on the track doing the officiating, especially in practice. I'll be able to see you hear someone with a really, you think is a very stout motor. We just say, hey, check this, check that. Do you need your valve springs checked before we go out there? And we'll check the springs before you go out, too. I know him. We can probably pull the valve springs out without dropping the valve within 3 to 5 minutes and get you back on the track.
All right, so I have a question. So, what happens if so you have the kids class? The reason I'm asking this is somebody messaged me privately and asked me. So, the clone kids class, right? What happens if the kid shows up with a Predator motor?
He can run the Predator class, the OVPC, if they're between 8 to 12. If they're 5 to 7, they can run the rookie class.
Okay, so they're still able to run.
Correct.
Even though they're okay.
Absolutely. That's why we were trying to cover the broad spectrum of the motors through there. Now, if you went to a regular money show, there wouldn't be Predator classes besides the out of the box. So what we're trying to do is to try to incorporate everybody in that. So that rookie class, that 5 to 7 red plate, is clone or Predator. The 8 to 12 is the OVPC Predator. So it'll incorporate that.
Okay, great. That's great. So tell me about your sponsors that you had to come together to put this race on in a short matter of 3 weeks. So
absolutely. So first, Greg Clary Trucking. Greg and I are doing this collaboration together. So Greg Clary Trucking is sponsoring the small block open class and a kids class. I never do any shows by myself. It's always our crew that works together. We have a crew of 12 to 14. We usually have 8 to 10 that'll travel with us wherever we go. And the first sponsors I always call, or they call me, is Kurt Burris with Burris Racing. They're an American-made tire. It's made in Indiana, Pennsylvania, and I've been with Kurt since we've been racing in 2012. I called Kurt up. I said, hey, Kurt, get your pocketbook out. I need some tires. And he's never let us down. So Kurt's been a part of all of our racing from day one. The second person that I'd always called up, and I never even have to ask, is Sean Lynn with Lynn Performance. I've been hooked up with Sean for the last 10 years. He's a parts vendor. He's a racer. He's a dad. He has a son that races. Him and his wife, Dana, his brother-in-law, Davey, and his wife, they travel to races all over the Midwest. He provides anything from setup help to he's a Phantom dealer. He builds motors, clone and Predator, clutches, tire prep, tires, wheels, everything. So Sean Lynn Performance is always the second person on the list. One of our huge sponsors that came in and asked to be a part of it was Reaper Performance, not the tire, Barry Rose out of the Wheelersburg area, a newer motor builder is trying to get his name out there. He's worked with us at Wheelersburg Raceway before. He was a scale man at the Midwest Racing Champions this year. He came on board and sponsored the Clone Light and Clone Medium class. So thank you to Barry Rose and Reaper Performance out of Southern Ohio. We're going to have banners set up at the track. He will be at the track also. Great guy. Affordable Auto and Towing. This is one of the guys that's going to be driving about 6 hours from Michigan to come and race with us. Mike Raymond. He has a young son, Caden Raymond, who races in the purple plate class, who will be coming down. So Mike Raymond, Affordable Auto and Towing. Ian Keeling Racing, one of the good buddies I talk to on a daily basis. His name is Billy the Kid Keeling out of Charleston, West Virginia. His entire crew is coming. Ian races all over the Midwest, racing everything from all the clone classes to the stock appearing classes. Keeling Racing. John Levere came aboard as a sponsor from River Valley Speedway. He wanted to support what we were doing, so he chipped in. Craig McClung Racing, Kyle Hager Racing, Mason Staten Racing, Chuck Ike Racing, Daryl Mayer Racing, are race teams that wanted to get on board with what we're doing for this indoor. It's the first time we've done this in 12 years, indoor racing in the area, and they wanted to be a part of it.
Awesome.
A couple of other big sponsors, JP Carpet Guy with Jamie Porter, closer to the Cincinnati, Dayton area. He came on board. Route 92 Embroidery, Jill and Randy Kearns out of the Clarksburg area, West Virginia. Another guy is driving even further, AJ Thompson with No Limit Carts and Parts. He's out of Michigan. He's sponsored. We have three apparel and embroidery teams that are going to be there.
That's one of our bigger sponsors too.
Yep. And
for 5B's embroidery does the sponsoring for my daughter.
5B's is awesome. Another one is based out of Route 92 Embroidery is out of West Virginia. T&J Designs, which is Tim Burkhammer and Jenny Moneypenny. Big sponsor. She's going to be on site with a press, making sure she's got a polar bear shirt that she's been announcing. She's trying to get pre-orders for, and a Burris leather stamped hat and beanie. She's another one of our sponsors, sponsoring the kid classes. And then Double Deuce Karting Media. I've been with Regina and Ed Kiskade for the last 8 years. Phenomenal people out of Maysville, Kentucky. Regina does all my stickers, and she does all the event flyers. So that Polar Bear Bash flyer that have all over the internet, she designed that. She always designs a lot of the Bear Tracks Motorsports stickers. And she also goes live the tracks on race day and provides video footage for people that couldn't be there. So those awesome. Are big ones. Gary John Racing, probably one of the biggest traveling gentlemen in the area, besides Double Deuce Media. Gary John, told you, Jared John drove for me and our team for 5 years. Just got back from Daytona with Gary John. He came on board as a sponsor, and Brian Sewell. Brian Sewell, Daryl Mayer Racing, they also gave money to the kids' classes so we could have trophies. So awesome. That's a list of sponsors. I know it was a big list, but even local guys like Mike Dickerson Racing out of West Lafayette, Ohio. Bob Wright. Bob Wright does a tremendous help for the karting community. Actually, myself, Bob Wright, and Sean Lynn, we try to take care of all the racers in Ohio on every kind of budget level.
Awesome. Nice. So I know Bob Wright's story. So obviously you have a shop. You said you're open on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So what could a newbie come to your shop, and what could they get from you guys?
Yep. And I give a speech to a new racer every time they come into the shop. Now, we don't try to base everything around money, but it does take money to go race. And there's different ways to get money. They either have jobs, they get sponsors, Maybe one of these days we'll get lucky, hit the lottery, and we'll just put a huge venue right in Zanesville. But I give them a speech. I ask them, why are you getting into racing? That's one of the first things. The second thing I ask them, what's your goals and where do you want to race? There's some people that just want to race at one track, and that's great. There's some people that want to travel all over the place. That's great. But they have to understand that there's going to be expectations and they're going to have to be responsible for certain things wherever they go. So you can come into my shop, say you're a 23-year-old person that wants to get into the OVPC Predator or just Predator in general. We have chassis anywhere from $500 to $2,500. We show you the options on the motors for out of the box motors, for the slightly modified Predator motors like the OVPC. If you want to go clone racing, we probably have 25 clone engine, anything from Excalibur, Sox racing motors, Sean Lynn motors, JPRW, stock appearing motors from Johnny Berry. My brother-in-law, Twisted Clone Performance, right here in Zanesville, builds stock appearing and small block open motors. We have everything. The only thing that we really are lacking right now is road course stuff. There's 4 road courses in Ohio between Atkins and Port Washington, Fremont, G&J outside of Dayton, Cincinnati area, and Wilmington. Those are the 4 main road courses. Don't do a lot of road coursing, but I can put you in contact with guys that road race, like Mike Horniak, Carlson Racing, AJ Roderick, Northern Ohio, and in mini wedges. I just haven't had a lot of mini wedge, but all the bolt-on parts, the axles, the tires, the wheels, the tacks, even sheet metal that we get from Ty-Tor Performance, we can outfit most of everything but a chassis. So literally everything and a kitchen sink.
Nice. That's nice.
And I just sold that Coyote.
It's nice that it's nice that you offer that, you, Bob Wright, give these guys some place to go, because, I've been in it for a while. All of us guys get our parts from every place underneath the sun that we could find. It's hard to find somebody that's really, really close that has an abundance amount of parts, which is great. I love that you're able to do that, and they can reach out to you through Facebook and get in contact with you and messaging you or whatever, however you choose. And they can get in contact with you, and they can get out to the track and start being a part of a great community that we all have a love for and such a fondness for. We get to race and, basically having a whole second family to go to, It's great.
What we've learned, and I told you, I'll keep going back to this. I failed a lot. In what we failed in, we've learned what to do, what not to do. And I learned that not everybody has to have a new chassis. Not everybody has to have a new motor. Race within your budget and go and have fun. I have just as much fun going to Little Muskie or Two Brothers or Limestone on a weekly basis as I do of going to Daytona and working with Mike Dickerson, Tony Heward, in the tire big guys. I get humbled a lot when I go to the big shows. I'm a heavier guy, and my younger days are behind me, but I still like to race locally with people like Jason Landis and Ryan Wisecarver. And we get big car guys to come out. We were fortunate to have Bobby Pierce and Devin Moran race in one of the OVP races at Little Muskie, and just to see all those kids, he probably signed 200-300 autographs, took 200-300 pictures that night. And just get to see those kids' faces and the adults that got to come up and shake hands with a World of Outlaw driver, a Lucas Oil late model driver. It's very humbling, and I'll help. One of the good things about our shops, whether it's Sean's, my shop, or Bob's, you can have faith in what we do because we're here. We don't always have the best prices. You might be able to go online and get a price cheaper, but if you have a problem, you can come back to our shop. We scale and we set up your cart for free. So Phil, if you had problems with your cart and say, Bear, man, I just can't figure this out. I'm not a genius. I don't know all the setups, but I can check your weights, your caster, your camber, your toe, your stagger, check your Ackerman and tie rod alignments, stuff on the front end. We do that for free. It's something that we try to do to show people what they need to look at in maintenance every week to make sure that they're going in the turning left.
That's
so
awesome.
what in the off season, you as a business owner or track promoter or racer, what is the biggest thing that somebody new coming into this sport has got to pay attention to in the off season for maintenance and in general getting ready for the next year? Because there's a lot of guys that follow this show and other ones that are new, or they've been around, they just don't know. They've never been showed, they've never been told. And so what do you think is some of the biggest things that they have to start looking at to be competitive?
I'm going to put it in different buckets. Maintenance is huge. Everything that we do, especially on the Predator motors or even on the clone motors, you only have so much horsepower to work with. So if you spin your axle and it stops after 1 or 2 revolutions, bearings, checking your bearings all the way around your cart. Friction is horsepower. When your chain, if your chain is rusty and it's not rotating on that clutch, good. Anything that you can make to free up on that cart. The biggest thing we tell people, and sometimes I get yelled at this, do not use a garden hose on your cart. The reason we say that is because water gets in your chassis and it'll eat it out from the inside out. Now, there's going to be racetracks you go to, I know like Bear Track, where it could get super muddy and you just got a ton of mud on the cart. Take your motor off the cart, take your body off, spray it down a little bit with water and wipe it all down. Most of the tracks that we go to, you can just take WD-40, spray it on there, take an air hose to spray it off, and then wipe your cart down. Cleaning your tires after every time you come off the track. I know it sounds crazy, but that dirt gets in the pores of your tires, and it actually will slow you. Cleaning your tires, also getting the dirt off your tires, keeps them from dry rotting. You don't have to do it every time, but get the dirt off and then change the oil in your motor as soon as you come off the track. You're going to say, why? Why do you do it as soon as you come off the track? Because the motor is still warm and all those dirt particles are still floating around in the oil and it's not laying on the bottom of the block. It's the best time to get the old oil out of your cart. But those are probably the 3 biggest things. Maintaining your clutch, knowing how your clutch works. Most of us all in the Predator run drum clutch. So whether it's a Max Torque or a Noram or a Stinger Premier, you take that clutch off, take the snap ring off, spray it with brake cleaner a little bit, take an air hose, and then maybe put some steel wool on the clutch surfaces or the shoes to get it to work. The biggest thing we see on the track is a clutch locking up because it's not free on. So, and you don't want to have to go up in there and spray WD-40 right before a feature starts because that oil will get up in your clutch shoes and it'll burn your clutch up. So change an oil, making sure your cart rotates free, and just literally wiping your cart down. When you take the time to wipe your cart down, you might see, oh, I got a bent spindle, or oh, I got a bent tie rod, or the tires rubbing on the body. Just taking that time, not just putting it in the cart, in the trailer at the end of the night, and then waiting until that next Saturday to get it out there. Spend an hour with it. You're only as good as your maintenance program.
So let's go to tires.
Yep.
There's so many different people out there that are making tires and selling tires now. I mean, you have Burris, what you said, are here in the U.S. You have Cobra. You have Reaper now. What is Maxxis? You had Dunlap's making, Hoosiers making tires. Man, I mean, we could probably sit here and keep going on. I know that for a guy like myself that I've never ran a set of bursts the whole time I've been karting. Never ran a set of bursts. Every time I've got them, I've given away to Shane. I've always ran Cobra. So, in your eyes, as owner and all this stuff, where would you go as telling somebody, hey, Burris is better because of this, or Cobra is better because of this? What is your thought lines on those?
And I am very opinionated on the tire situation all across. The reason I'm with Burris is 100% because they are made in the USA. I support as much as we can made in USA, just like Van K. I'm not saying Burris is the best tire out there. I'm saying it's the best tire to support local racing and what we do. We just did a show on Vega and Reapers down in Daytona. Vega, awesome tire. Maxxis, great tire. Reaper, great tire. AJC, Adam Johnson just come out with a tire out west. Cobra, they're all great tires. There's been an ongoing debate forever about open tire versus a tire rule. And you can look multiple different ways on that topic. If we stay to one tire, that shortens the variable on what that racer is competing against. We'll just take for granted. For instance, I go to Martinville Raceway. Mike Dickerson goes to Martinville Raceway. Mike Dickerson has raced for 45 years. He knows what all those tires are going to do. I've got a set of Cobra in the trailer, and I've got a set of Reapers in the trailer. That's all I got. Okay. So I go out there, and he laps me, and he's on a set of Burris. And I go up to him, and I'm like, man, does that really make that much of a difference? Those track conditions for that day or that track dictated what tire he was on, whether he was on an 11 or a 33, or he was wiping with goat pee or Andy Murray purple or black bite or tire wash. So on the tire situation, it's great to have an open tire rule for your track to get people in there. My opinion, and the opinions that the people that we race with are, if you limit it to one kind of tire, one manufacturer, it'll limit that variable. So at that night, that tire, we know that if we go to Limestone, a Vega tire is the fastest tire going around that track. So we always run Vegas when we go to Limestone. We go to Bear Tracks, the best tire, fastest tire there is a Burris 11. But if you're a brand new guy coming from Mansfield, Ohio, and you only had a set of yellow or white trailers, you're not going to be as competitive as you are on a Burris 11 tire. So that is the reason why we choose a tire rule, and something we did to try to compromise more. And I think you'll see this happen a little bit more in the next couple years. Not only we were just a Burris 33 tire rule for most of the time, for most of the racing we did. That was the compound. What we did in the OVPC is we opened it up to any Burris, whether it be an 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, or treads. A lot of people said, treads are going to tear the track up. Treads are going to tear the track up. What we were able to show with using an open tire rule for any Burris was, if that track was loose or didn't have a lot of bite, those treaded tires came into play. And those were very good. If the track had a lot of bite and the track, you could get down, get your cart to sit down on the track, a lot of guys use the slick tire rule. So we didn't open it up to any tire, but we at least opened it up to any Burris, slick, or tread. So it's going to be an ongoing debate for forever on the tire rule. Right. I personally am not a fan of tire prep. I'm always trying to find ways of what can we do to get rid of tire prep, the chemicals. But we're at a point right now is you have to run prep on your tires to get them to stick to the track better. But with the treaded tire, you don't have to prep. You don't have to cut. So that cuts another $100 to $125 off your tire bill when you can just throw those treaded tires on and go race.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
not a big tire prep person either.
Well, I mean, I run stock appearing, and I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't be able to. I'd look like a fool out there if I didn't prep my tires. I just wouldn't be able to go nowhere. I mean, that's just the way it is, you know.
I'm just not a fan. I understand the whole premise behind, but it's very hard to regulate it because guys will internal, they'll external. A lot of tracks are saying like this weekend going to the Henderson Arena, you cannot prep on the grid. If you're going to prep, you got to prep in your trailer because it's an equine facility. We don't want all those
Right.
chemicals being dropped on the ground. Designated oil, a dump barrel, and you cannot prep your tires. We don't want their prep underneath your cart stand. We don't want prep dripping off your tires onto the ground, right inside the facility. Do it in your trailer, and it'll limit the exposure for the chemicals on the track.
Right. I mean, I've always prepped my stuff all throughout the week and got it ready, wrapped them and got it ready, and then I unwrapped them at the racetrack. There really wasn't a whole lot of prepping after we start racing, besides general cleaning them. I mean, I've personally never found any reason to prep at the track, and the tire is going to do what the tire is going to do at that point.
And then just to broaden your horizon on the prepping, there is probably 1,000 different preps out there in a couple different scenarios. There's a lot of times where we'll roll right up to the grid and we're going to roll our tires right before we set down because we got to get as much chemical on that tire to adhere to that track as we're out there. And you'll see, and there'll be a time when the track flips. Like when we went down to Daytona, the track started out super wet. They had calcium on the track. Sun came out, started getting a black line around the track where it laid prep and tire rubber. Then that line, you had to get off prep. You had to get on a thinner tire, or you had to get on more air. You had to get on a harder tire. When you start getting that level of racing, when you travel, prep plays a huge importance. Whether the track gets so good that you got to start taking bite out of the tires.
Right.
So that is the game that I defer to people like Tony Heward, Chase Caudle, Jared John, Mike Dickerson. They are experts at that. And Andy Murray, his son Bryson Murray, was absolutely phenomenal. And he's a big prep dealer down south, Andy Murray Gambler product.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got a great thing going on, and I'm definitely coming down Saturday to watch. I'm not quite ready. If I was ready, I would race in the small block open, but I'm just not ready. I'm too far out. I got my stuff in a million pieces everywhere, so I wasn't ready for an indoor show by any means. But I'm definitely coming down to watch. And I'm going to interview people while I'm down there for the show and keep getting it out there as much as possible. If anything changes from now till we go, just message me, send it to me, and I will post it on our Facebook. I don't care if I have to go live again. I will get it out there for you to get you whatever we need to do. You never know. I might go live while I'm there too. I might just have, see what's going on, but I just want people
join
to
me
race,
in it.
man. Just go race and go have fun and pack the place, and especially something that local people are putting on here. It seems like it's going to be big. There's already over 100 carts. I mean, that is crazy. That's a crazy amount of number for January. For 3-week notice is really darn good. I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, it shows how good the social media aspect, like Phil and Shane, John Levere, the different podcasts, the positive power of social media. There's a lot of negativity out there, but if we can get the positive aspect out there, you've had Blake Morris on the show, Wyatt Scooter, those guys that are Greg Clary that are in the racing community in all aspects, getting the word out, and then having respectable people back you when you're doing something like this. This is, again, not just me. This is a group of people. I'm just the big mouth that is able to articulate and enunciate enough to get it out there and push it forward as far as possible. So it's going to be a great show. The weather is looking more promising
Awesome.
as it develops. Hopefully, it doesn't go the other way. But
Right.
This winter we're expecting low temperatures and some kind of precipitation. So you just got to go slower and take your time. It's going to be a fun event. I appreciate everything you guys do. Just like you guys, I couldn't do it without my wife and kids and
Yep.
all the help. My wife puts up with a lot. I'm dating her dining room right now for the last 2 hours.
One of our podcast
Racing.
one of our
I love it,
podcast
man.
guests we want to do one time with just the wives, so they can go in
Yeah.
here and just be like, what's it like to be surrounded by us? These, just are so in deep with this and how much they have to put up with it.
The good thing about my wife is that she came from a racing family. Her mom
Listen.
and dad both raced. Her brother was a NASCAR
That's
champion.
awesome.
So she still races herself. She got a win this year at Limestone Valley. So she knows
Nice.
the hours that we put in the shop. We try to accommodate everybody. That's some of our weaknesses that we want to get it out. We know we're going to have differences.
Yeah.
Sometimes we agree to disagree on certain things, but
Right.
just being able to explain. I've had guys come down to the shop. Yes, I'm also by appointment. If I can make it, if I'm down at the shop Tuesdays and Thursdays when we're working on people's carts or doing inventory or working on motors. But a lot of the times, Sundays, Wednesdays, Mondays, I'm at the shop working on my own stuff or getting stuff ready for. You can just imagine how much work has to be done when you have to put a show together. You see it every week when you go to Jug Run. Look at what Brian and Jared and Kathy do every week just to get the facility ready. The concession stand, mowing, track prep, getting their own carts ready, doing pit passes, registration, dealing with weather. It never ends. There's always a phone call.
Right.
Always a message.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's all about who you surround yourself with too. In those scenarios, you just mentioned Jug Run. I mean, all of them keep surrounding themselves with people that are knowledgeable and stuff, and they always bounce ideals off each other. So I'm sure you guys do too. You try stuff, don't work, try something else that sticks. Let's run it. That's what it's about, man. It's about getting us out there and race, and I'm thankful for guys like you that are able to put something together and go race. And in the winter, we're all from the last checkered flag, and we were all like in a deep depression, like we can't race. What do we do? And then you look at your cart. You know what I mean? It just never stops in the winter, and we start really into January, February. We start getting that little smile on our face. It's getting closer, and it's getting closer. But I think what you're doing. Thank you. Let's get everybody out there and get pre-registered for the Polar Bear Bash, man, and the Ohio Valley Predator Championship. Let's get some more guys into that. Let's get these tracks that you guys are going to, and get them, pack them, fill them, have a great race, have a great show. Everybody can just keep on building, and it's great.
I have one question for you. So I just found out the other day. So my birthday's January 14th. It's the opening night of the Golden Isles Raceway, which is an hour and 20 minutes from my house.
That's cool.
So, do you know much about that track?
Golden Isles used to be the biggest late model dirt track. It used to be over 5/8 of a mile. They did shorten it a lot. I know that it will be part of Speed Weeks. You can correct me. Is that the home of Kyle Bronson?
I'm not.
So. I believe so.
I'm going to do some research on it.
So I would reach out to Kyle Bronson Racing, but it's one of the best, fastest tracks, like Eldora, for super late model modified racing. I know we had guys go down there. Roush went down a couple years ago. Cody Parker, local modified racer in the area went down a couple years ago. Raced Jesse Weiscarver went down. And I know that's about the beginning of when Speed Week starts because East Bay is shut down now. You got Golden Isles, you got Volusia, you got Bubba's Raceway Park, you got Alltech Speedway. I'll be in contact with Devin Moran over the next couple of weeks. I know they're in Vado this week out in Arizona. Bobby Pierce was out there. I stay in touch with Bobby. Golden Isles would be an awesome place to watch a super late model. The Rush Series goes there. I know Blake is affiliated with the Rush Series, the local Rush stuff. I know races a lot of Speed Week stuff, but I know it is a great facility to go watch dirt late model racing.
I think I'm going to try to make it down there that weekend and check it out and stuff like that. So see what I can get into.
I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Hopefully we got you on here and we'll get you some more carts and get you some more spectators at least, and we can let it keep growing and just let us know if anything changes or anything else we can help promote with you. Just reach out to us. That's what we're here for. And I thank both of you for being on the show.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. I know I'm long-winded. I talk a lot, but I like to share our experience that make the sport better. If anybody could take one thing from what the three of us said and said, oh, that makes sense, or we'd like to do that, or reach out. We always have time to talk to. We're not always going to agree about everything.
No,
makes us all different. But just like the Ohio Valley Predator Championship, it's a group of tracks trying to promote local racing and include more people and go to more tracks. It's not just me trying to do the racing. It's Tristan Moran, it's AJ Cannon, Greg Clary. We're all trying to promote so racers like you guys have places to go and can race on a weekly basis.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, keep it up, guys. Keep it up. I appreciate it. We're going to close out the show. We've been at it for almost 2 hours now.
Probably can keep on going.
We could probably keep on going, but I have to work in the morning.
Same here.
So, hey, everybody have a good night. And if I don't talk to you, Bear, I will see you at the racetrack this weekend coming up.
Remember, everybody go support your local tracks.
Yep. Go support your local track. Don't bad talk them. Go support them. Fill the stands. I don't care if you're watching or if you're just watching or you want to race. Get out there. If you want to race, you've never been in it, please feel free to get in touch with me. I'll get you in touch with Bear and Bob Wright, and I'll help you, and we'll get you on the track, and you can be a part of the community. But thank you guys, and we'll see you. I'll see you guys Saturday.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.